but you have got to step away from your business. It's not hard to be a workaholic. You're afraid to slow down. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. We're going to be talking today about doing business in the summer. But first, I just want you to know I am well aware that my voice sounds a little janky. I have been under the weather. And by the way, is there anything worse than being sick in the summer? I mean, it's different when it's like in the winter and you can turn on the fireplace and just have soup and stay in your jammies for several days. But during the summer, I'm like, come on, man, nobody has time to be sick during the summer. So I know my voice sounds bad. We're just going to pretend that this is like my Demi Moore impression. Okay. That's what that's what I'm going with. That's what I keep trying to tell myself. So if I have to cough, sniffle, sneeze, whatever, just give me lots and lots of grace today. So, all right. Anybody else panicking or feeling a little anxious about doing business because it's summer? Especially those of you who are moms who are about to have kids home, or you have kids home. Or maybe you're not a mom, but maybe you have vacations coming up during the summer months. You have some travel that you want to do. You have, a kiddo getting married. You want to go visit your parents. You want to be able to unplug. I know sometimes going into the summer, that can feel a little, what's the word? Hopefully words aren't going to elude me today since I do have Mucinex brain. But sometimes it's like you're coupling excitement because it's the summer months with also just a little bit of dread or anxiety because you're like, how is this going to go down? What is this going to look like? How am I going to be able to pull away? And I know from coaching at this point, well over how many women did we decide that I have coached? I think it's over 20,000 women. Does that sound right, guys? In the last 10 years, 20,000 women. But I do know too that a lot of industries and a lot of businesses tend to take a dip in sales during the summer months, as well as a dip in like social media reach. And so, when you are wanting to step away, there it goes, a little bit of cough for emphasis. When you're wanting to step away, but you see the reach on your social media go down and you see a dip in your sales, then a lot of times inevitably you're like, well, I can't step away. I need to press harder. And sometimes there's just things that happen during the summer months that first of all are out of your control. And so I just want to talk about some things that I think that you can do to help yourself this summer, to manage your expectations a little bit and give yourself a little bit of grace and to take some time and step away. Okay. I know when our kids were little, so I started my first business, the painting company, the Magic Brush, in the year 2000, and then had Noah Allwood in the year 2001. So I was home every summer with the kids. And there was a time when they started doing like a mom's day out, a day a week, and then 2 days a week. But I always had this like internal rub where I was like, okay, how do I keep this business afloat? Because I had people who depended on me for the painting company, women that were working out in the field every day. So how do I keep this business going and also still be a really good and present mom? You know what I was thinking about last night, by the way? I was thinking as I was just scrolling on my phone because I was laying in bed for another day, not feeling good in a row. I was thinking, I am so glad that there was no social media when my kids were little. When Noah and Easton especially were tiny, there was no social media. And I'm so glad that I didn't just have to deal with that. But, I do remember still trying to figure out how am I going to work and be a really good mom. And so that was always, the conundrum that I found myself in. And I know that we're in a different season now. Jason has been home from corporate America for over 5 years. So he's home, during the summers, obviously with me. Plus 3 out of our 4 children are, very self-sufficient, able to take care of themselves. One of them is completely out of the house. The second one's in college. The third one is 15 going on 25. But at least, all of our kiddos, they're able to wipe their own bums. And, it's a glorious thing, right? But what I was thinking about is, so even though we're in an easier season because Jason's home and our kids are older, it's actually still can be kind of a difficult, I don't want to say difficult, but it can be challenging during the summer months because I now have more meetings and more commitments than what I did when the kids were smaller. And so that kind of makes it a little bit harder to flex, honestly. Like when the kids were smaller, I didn't have the Jennifer Allwood show. So I was not, needing to record twice a week. I did not have the Next Level Mastermind with 50 women in it, so I didn't have the Voxering that I do every day, and, the touching base with people, and as many of the training calls. I only launched my Better Way program once a year versus several times a year like I do now. So even though in some ways it's easier, on other ways it's harder, just because I don't have the flexibility that I used to. Does that make sense? So regardless of if you're a mom or you don't have kids or your kids are older or younger, I still think that there are challenges in every season. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to give you just a little bit of strategy, some advice from somebody who's been in business for 23 years, who has gone through 23 summers in business. Let me give you just a couple of tips. Okay. So first of all, please take some time off this summer, for the love. Please, not only take some time off, but you have got to step away from your business for more than just, a few hours a week, or I think even more than just a day a week. Listen, most of us that are in business, we started our business for a couple of reasons. One, we love whatever it is, that it is that we're doing, and we feel really called to do that. Okay. And two, a lot of us, we just don't conform to the traditional 9 to 5. We don't want somebody telling us when we have to work. We want the flexibility. We want to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it. But then a lot of times what I see that happens is we go into business for ourselves, and then we find ourselves back in the position where we feel like we have to do this and we have to do that, and we have to work from, 9 to 7 every day instead of 9 to 5. And we actually, we went into business for more freedom, but we actually build ourselves with all of these walls that before we know it, we're almost sometimes in a worse position than if we'd stayed working for somebody else and we're able just to turn it all off at 5 o'clock every day. I'm going to say something that is definitely going to step on some toes, okay? But I'm going to say it because I think that it's something that needs to be said. Please know I say this with every ounce of love in my heart, okay? If you cannot take any time off from your business, and especially during the summer, first of all, I don't believe you. I think that's crap. And second of all, that is totally your fault. And I had to come to this realization about my own self. First of all, I had to come to terms with the fact that I can take time off. It's just that I have told myself that I can't. By the way, part of that is ego. Okay. And two, so I told myself that I couldn't. And second of all, I had to come to the realization that I haven't put things in place that would allow me to step back. I haven't either hired the right people or given them the right freedom in order for me to trust them, let them do their job, and me step back. So if you're saying, Jen, I cannot take any time off, I can't go on a summer vacation, I can't have every Friday off during the summer or whatever, listen to me. First of all, you need to fix this, okay? And you are the only one that has the ability to fix this. You're going to have to put some systems in place. You're going to have to work harder in the winter. The Bible talks about how we're supposed to study the ant. They save up during the summer so that they have, they have something to live off of during the winter. Well, listen, we can push harder during the months where sales are better, reach are better, where we don't want to, pull back quite as often, so that we can pull back during the summer. Did you know that most people work until age 67? I don't know where I read this, but I read this recently. And the average life expectancy in the United States, I believe, is 77 years old. So most people are working till they are 67 and on average dying at 77. Friends, that's giving you 10 years to do what you want to do, not because you have to do it. 10 years, that's giving you 1 decade. You're working for almost 7 decades and then having 1 decade to do the things you want to do. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys about a book that I read. I would say I read this book maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It's called Die with Zero. All right. And most of you know that I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I love what Dave Ramsey teaches. Die with Zero is a very different book than that. Okay. So you're going to need to temper it with, just wisdom. It's not a Christian book, but there's lots that you can get out of it. Let me give you a little bit of a synopsis of the book. The book is essentially this. The book talks about how we work, to retire at a certain age, and we're saving all of our money for retirement. But then we get to the retirement age and our bodies no longer allow us to go on the vacations that we wanted to, or we're past our prime in terms of, being able to travel. We're kind of past the age when we can take our kids with us. And so it's talking about how we wait for so long to do the things that we want to do. And a lot of times we're no longer able to physically or even emotionally do it. It talks about how we often, we're saving up all this money that we want to leave for our children when we're long gone, which I do believe is biblical. But it talks about how oftentimes our kids are past the age of really needing it. Like, if our average life expectancy is 77, let's say that, and let's say you just had your kids at 30, like I did. So, so if you pass away at 77 and you've got kids in their 40s, like that's kind of most of the time past the age when your children need money the most. Does that make sense? So it's talking about, why wouldn't you be giving money to your kids when they're in their 20s and their 30s and they're in the building stages? Listen, that book, Die with Zero, it put a few things in perspective for me in a different way. I don't want to not take time off between now and retirement, because more than likely, when I get to retirement age, like I will have missed so much. Friends will have missed so much. We can't wait to do all the fun stuff until we're retired. We need to be doing it now. Anybody, friends, can be a workaholic. It's not hard to be a workaholic, but it takes a lot more character and a lot more strength and a lot more restraint to pull back and to do things other than work and continue to keep the priority. Listen, rest is warfare, and all of us need to be warring in our business. Take time off. You can do it. Put some things in place immediately so that you can step away from your business. And I'll just say one more thing about that. A lot of times when people come into my coaching group and they work all the time and they tell me that they can't afford to take time off, or it's not a money issue, but that they have nobody else that can do the things they want to do. First of all, a lot of times that can be a trauma response. It can be something where it's not actually what you say it is. A lot of times when you're thinking, I've got to work all the time, it's that you're afraid to slow down and feel things you don't want to feel. A lot of times we work because we have things going on in our personal life that feel out of control. And we think, well, at least we know how to control work. At least we know what's expected of us there. At least we know what's good there. At least we have some control there. A lot of times too, we say that we can't pull back from work because the truth is we're really afraid that we're going to lose it all. And we've convinced ourselves that if we just stay in the game 24 hours a day, or 14-hour work days or whatever, and we never step away from it, that we're going to see things coming, that we're going to be able to, keep ourselves above water, keep the business going. And honestly, it's just perceived safety. It really is. I will tell you one more thing. A lot of times when we tell ourselves that we can't step away from work, as I mentioned earlier, that comes often from a place of pride and ego, because we've convinced ourselves that nobody can do it as well as I can. And that's pride and that's ego. And the truth is, you can't grow when you're keeping it just you, because you're either going to run out of time or you're going to run out of talent. You either get to the place where there's no more hours in the day, or you get to the place where you don't know how to do the things that need to be done to get you to the next level. And you're going to have to get some help. You're going to have to hire some help if you want to expand any more than what you already have. By the way, if you need help, I have a VA agency. We literally have a team of ladies that would love to help you. with the things that you're getting stuck on. You can contact Biz Assist Agency, go to bizassistagency.com and fill out a form there. So listen, you can put things in place to be able to step away. I would like to step away for an entire month next year. My team, by the way, is hearing this for the first time. Hello, team. This is Jen. I think next year I want to step away from a month. I don't even know if I can do that. The longest I've ever stepped away is 10 days. We will see. But I remember my friend Amy Porterfield, she stepped away for, I think it was 7 weeks last summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'll just start out with 2 weeks and see if that's possible. But listen, let me give you some concrete ideas, okay? And this is not here's the schedule that's going to help you during the summer. I don't believe in that. I believe so often, especially us as creatives, we're looking for the 1, 2, 3 steps so that we can, accomplish what we need to. And as creatives, like we just don't do it like everybody else. So take from this, like extract this from this little short list that I've got for you here, what you need to and what you can, and just dump the rest of it. Okay. Some of you, if you batched content, that would be super helpful for you. That would mean that you could get ahead and really unplug to go on a vacation or something. So that means scheduling a bunch of social media content, batch it, like just sit down and do a couple hours and get it all done for the next couple of weeks. Some of you need to write a bunch of emails and just get those scheduled to go out. Sometimes batching our content can be really, really helpful. Another thing is just completely unplugging from work for a fraction of time during the summer and put out nothing. Put out no social media content that's new. Put out no emails that's new, and just let people know, I'm just going to take a little breaky break. I recently saw my friend Christy Wright announce that she was taking a break for the summer. And I was like, praise God, good for her. I saw my friend Lisa Whittle. I don't know if Lisa signed off for the summer or just for a month, but I was like, good for her. Look at them go. And you know why? I'm because both of them are doing it without fear of losing because they're stepping back. And that deserves to be applauded. For real, it does. So you could just unplug. That's an option. You could just be like, you know what? I'm just going to turn this off. And that's okay too. I want you to make sure that you are managing your sales expectations, because here's the thing, like you're probably busy this summer. You want to spend maybe time at the lake, vacationing, visiting people, taking the kids to the zoo, whatever, right? So are your customers. Like a lot of times we get so down when we see things take a dip in the summer, and we forget that a lot of times our customers are in the same season of life as us, or they're, they're similar to us in terms of their habits. So you're upset possibly that your customers aren't, paying attention. They're not commenting on your social. They're not buying things, but you're doing the same things. You're not commenting on a lot of people's social. You're not buying a lot because you too are trying to step back. So listen, manage your expectations just a little bit. We don't launch usually during the summer, by the way, unless it's something like a flash sale for my birthday in July 29th, by the way. In case you're wondering, July 29th, I will be 52 years old. So there's that. But a lot of times we try hard not to launch from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Now we've done a couple of exceptions over the years, but from Memorial Day to Labor Day, we just kind of don't do any real strong forward-facing launches that require me. We do more things that are just email pushes. But what you could do during the summer is you could continue to give value and just doing a lot of seed planting for fall. Okay. Focus on building your email list this summer. Run ads to get your email list going. Focus on growing your audience, putting out really valuable content, not just content to make sure you're checking the box off, but really valuable content. Listen, friends, life is so short. A lot of you are my age. You're on the back 9 right now. You're over 50. But even more of you are still under 50. And I want to tell you something. Life is so short. And if you have kiddos, I want you to know this. You only have roughly 18 summers with your children. And if your life expectancy is 78 years old, 77 years old, or whatever I said earlier, I think it was 77, you only have roughly 77 summers ever. If you've got littles, you've only got 18 of them with them. Don't spend it all working. You will never regret pulling back in the summer. And so I just want to give some of you permission, because some of you just need to hear that. Others of you need to be reminded that you can still continue to grow and operate in your business and spend time with your kids this summer as well. I used to, flip-flop kids with my friend Shauna all the time. She would take them for an afternoon. I'd take hers for an afternoon. I would work my booty off when the kids were sleeping in during the summer months, when they would have nap time. So please know that you can get more done in less time when you really put your head down. Turn off your Facebook notifications. Quit allowing everybody to disrupt your workday, and just get your head down for a couple hours a day, and then go play. And then go play. All right. Friends, I hope that this was helpful for somebody today. If you're watching on YouTube right now, if you would make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment below. If you're listening to this on the podcast app, and you enjoyed this at all, would you forward it to somebody that has small kiddos, especially, or somebody that just needs to hear that they need to take some time off this summer? I hope that it's a blessing to them as well. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Didn't even cough, Easton. I didn't even cough. There, that's just for effect. But look at that, I didn't even cough. Didn't even snot all over everything. Didn't even need my roll of toilet paper.